because it was, and actually, you know what, it fit right in anyway, because I was going to ask questions about how limited did you two feel when it came to skill choices? Because
0.
there was one skill that I wish I could have fit into my build, but I built for personal and group defense. I didn't really go offense. I didn't really go like with, you know, the skill everyone talks about, like the whole harpoon get over here thing that the tank can do. I really wanted that for people like running away and to like single people out and pull them out of the enemy group and put a wall behind them or something. I felt that would have been kind of badass, but I went more for the defending everybody route instead. And I really, really wanted that one though. If I had one more skill point, if I had one more.
The walling people off of the bridge build.
Oh, that was, I don't care. That was so satisfying. Every time a wall like closed off a bottleneck and people could get away, that was so satisfying.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, putting it behind people so they couldn't go back to their group.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like a May wall, yeah. Bergund?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I didn't spec into mana regen, and there was a path that I could have taken in the skill tree to do that, but that also would have meant that I was more of a DPS cleric instead of the healing cleric that I was focusing on, and party heals and survivability on myself due to wearing plate and using a shield and things like that. And so I also heard from others that the tree was a little frustrating because there were some poor choices you had to make to get to the spell that they wanted. And I think that was DA who mentioned that or something. But I definitely felt the same way in that, man, I wish I had that ability, but I don't want to spend my points in this thing that I don't think is that useful for the build that I was going for.
Yeah. I can agree with that a little bit. I mean, for me, I felt like there was a lot of options. I felt like there was a lot of different, like between, not just on the skill tree. Are you talking about on skill tree specifically in terms of like, you're talking just about skill choices, not build, like complete build, right?
Right. That's what I.
Yes. That's what I was really. Yeah, because you're gonna have a desired build, and that's gonna take you down certain portions of the skill tree. But
no, I was mainly asking for clarification because that changes what I'm answering exactly. Because even though Bergund and I were both clerics, we were built very differently, including armor.
Very differently.
Yeah. So for me, I felt like, so the choices and stuff, I didn't feel overly limited. I felt like it was a very good thing. And also, by the way, I put in chat that there's a small Borky companion in training.
Yeah, I saw that
and then
one.
Thither says he confirmed he's swapping to summoner. Hi, Weasel. But yeah, no, I felt like there was a lot of, I kind of like, I think you can speak to this more, Virtek, but kind of like you with your shield or your wall, there were some ways to augment some of the skills, interestingly, right? So you could go for more stacks of being able to heal, like more like if you were able to do 3 of an ability, you were able to do 5 instead, or if you used it really quickly, it would heal more for using it in quick succession. And it kind of changed your strategy a little bit. Like, okay, well, which one do I value more? Do I value more having those extra heals, or do I value being able to like spam heal real quick and get an extra burst of healing out? And, you know, those were some of the things that I was seeing in terms of like looking through stuff. But also, thank you, Quarian. We're being rated. Hello, welcome to the Golden Feather.
Hello,
we're talking about
Raiders.
our experiences.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome on in, and thank you for stopping by.
And
threw an axe at me.
Cheers to you.
Dodged it.
Oh no, rude.
Duck and cover.
Raiders.
Duck and cover. This is supposed to be a friendly raid. Leave your weapons at the door. We got food.
Weapons at the door, the umbrella rack's right there, weapon rack's on the other side.
Yep. But yeah, I think that there was a good amount of options. However, I will say some of the options just felt like, why would you do that?
As a cleric, there was the option to use that divine power to instead of mana, so using a bunch of heals and then having that resource when mana was out was great, but there were some abilities that I spec'd into that were a held ability. In particular, where'd it go? In particular, the ability called Deliverance was a held ability that I loved, and it was great because it would heal extra due to how much health was depleted from the player that I was charging the ability for. And it would have been great to have like an immediate, okay, I'm done charging, let's use that ability at its max value. But the choice to use Divine Power was my option instead, so I had to make a choice between those two. To deplete Divine Power and use this ability that I was charging, or use Divine Power to in replacement of mana. And so I think I made the right choice. I think, the mana replacement was a better move for this test anyway. And but I could see the validity of choosing the other option. And so, I mean, I'm really, honestly, I'm very excited as a all guild of clerics, and to see the versatility and to see the validity of our two different designs of clerics between you and I, Chibi. I think there's a lot to look forward to as far as class versatility in the cleric.
Yeah, and that's one thing I look forward to when we get into Alpha 2, or even, potential future testing, is playing around with armor sets and everything and seeing what all the options are. Because, to be honest, my experience and my plan with going through these testing was to go for as much mana regen as possible. Just because I had a feeling that I would want to heal a lot. And I enjoyed working through the different armor sets, but I don't think I've really dialed in quite yet on what build I want to do. I just kind of stuck with a build that I was like, okay, I think this is what I'm going to go with for right now. But,
yeah. As for tank, I don't think there were any bad choices. There were choices that wouldn't work well for node war setup, for sure. Like they were definitely designed to be, because there was one that would it would give you basically a pulse of threat going outbound plus a little bit of damage, and have a chance to trip people, which could be helpful, but not nearly as helpful as some of the other skills around it. But there was one specifically that I was looking at, thinking like, okay, so one skill is, it was a tomahawk. You could throw a tomahawk at somebody, and it did kind of okay damage. It was just, whatever damage. And I figured that's kind of a silly one to try to pick up as a tank. But then if you spent a second point in there, you could upgrade it to where if you hit somebody in the back, it would slow them down.
Interesting. Okay.
So if someone, either you're a dive tank trying to jump in there and scatter everybody and just cause disorder, and there's like a healer trying to run away from you, you could absolutely try to see if you can take them out while you're there before dipping out and going back to your team. Or if somebody else, like a mage or something, tries to jump in and say, hit you. Yeah, Fupo. Yeah, see, that's what I like too. Doing some dive stuff. But if there's like a mage trying to jump in, like they could, and do like an ice storm or something, then, or the blizzard, I think they called it. Sorry, I'm not a mage. I don't know mage stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know mage stuff. But if they tried to jump in a group and do that, and then they tried to blink out and run away, as they're running away, after they've done their blink, you could smack them in the back with that, and then it would be harder for them to actually continue running. And that's where I would have liked the little yank thing to pull them back to me.